Hiya, I'm Sparkles, and welcome to the video. I am starting a new series on the channel. Yippee! 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 That is drawing my favorite characters alphabetically. For every letter of the alphabet, I will be drawing a character based off said letter, if you didn't already know from the title. And letter A is for Ace Trappola. I wanted to start this series to rant about my favorite characters, and this gives me the best excuse to do so, while also having the low stakes of a speed paint while I rant. This will be sort of an easy video to give me a break in between my more intense videos that require a lot more effort and time, which is definitely needed since I do plan to take my videos more seriously than previously. Inherently, the series is going to be super indulgent to my taste specifically. However, I do hope these videos are enjoyable to you guys as well. But let's get into the video and into the speed paint. Now, Ace Trappola is from Twisted Wonderland, originally a mobile gacha game, but is now an anime, a manga series, and a novel series. And I do have to clarify, for those who don't know, that this is not a dating sim, because literally everyone automatically thinks it is. It is not. Now, there will be in-depth spoilers all throughout this video, so if you do not want to get spoiled, I would wait until after playing the game to do so. Ace managed to become my favorite character in the game, not only being the first characters you get introduced into the series that helps the show the themes of the story, which, side note, I don't like what the anime and manga did to that scene, but only because of his personality made him truly stand out in my eyes. I am in fact a sucker for a character that's super defiant and annoying to a lot of people. That's my son. That's my guy. I can't tell you how refreshing it was to see Ace in the story, especially in book 1, where although he was characterized as lazy and kind of a bully, he also had a strong sense of justice and a deep understanding of love, which was very surprising when he starts to tell Riddle off, because I was kind of expecting him to be what we saw in the prologue, but Ace exemplifies the theming of Twisted Wonderland, that being the perception of characters not always acting how you would assume. Speaking of book 1, Ace was 100% in the right no matter how he was acting. Riddle was being incredibly unreasonable, and having his magic taken away from eating a tart slice in a community fridge with no note after being gone all day was stupid. If Ace stole a tart where there was a note on it, then I could see him being in the wrong. However, it's a fridge where everybody in the dorm uses. If you don't label anything in a public fridge, people will eat it. I know that sounds obvious, but some people like to excuse Riddle's actions to a weird degree, treating Ace like some demon from hell. Speaking of which, most stories would have coddled Riddle because of his terrible home, excusing what he did regardless if it upset or hurt people because he was traumatized. But having Ace hold Riddle accountable for his actions was so interesting. Immediately made him my favorite, hands down. Admittedly, I am annoyed how they handled Ace with every other book aside for some parts in book 7, but I'll get into that later. I can understand needing to give everybody in the large cast some screen time and development, but it does this thing where once a character goes through development, they are set aside to focus on others very abruptly with very little follow-up. However, Ace is relatively more important to the plot, being one of the player's friends, and should be consistent in his actions. In book 5, when Vil was being unfair and similar to Riddle and his regiment, Ace complained but never called Vil out, which is pretty unlike him. They also made Ace act weirdly in book 5, making him less like he was in the previous books. In the previous book, Ace gave up his vacation to save you, and in this one, they make him act up on his more meaner side for no reason. With everything he and Deuce and you went through, you'd think he'd at least apologize to Deuce, who is more sensitive to his comments, but they skip it entirely. Honestly, I do need to make a whole video on why I dislike Book 5 and why it's the worst book, but that's for another day. Getting into Book 7 in Ace's Dream is about the most selfish dream out of all of them, as it's more what the player character wants, which is heartbreaking when you realize that Ace's closest friend is you. We get some actual development from Ace, which is his insecurity of being weak, that is barely brought up besides a few throwaway lines, as well as he wants you to be happy, but wants you to stay in his life, because that's his friend. And when he was in Riddle's dream, I nearly cried at him getting his unique magic with you and Grimm supporting him through it. It nearly fixed all my problems with how he was treated throughout the main story. Almost. You would think he would get a little bit of the aftermath of the dream that's about you being able to leave Twisted Wonderland in the 7.5 update, that at least gives a scene that forces Ace to confront the fact that he's scared about the player leaving and having that conversation to give us closure to whatever happens to the player character is going to happen. But no, Ace uses his unique magic, and that's that. Since the story isn't fully over, I do hope we get that eventually, but until then, I do feel like there's something missing from Ace, and it's very obvious. Other than the main story, I do enjoy every event he's in, especially in the Stitch event and the Ghost Sprite event. Those are my favorites. These events really get the duality of Ace being a dumb, annoying teenager, while also having his understanding of love and willing to stand up to anyone who's in the wrong, regardless if they're older or more influential. Now, admittedly, I do have an alt account dedicated to getting all the Ace cards. Don't judge, it's hard to be a free-to-play player.
Woo! That was a lot. Focusing on the drawing for a bit, I decided to draw each character sitting in character with their letter pose-wise. I had this idea of molding the letter in cards to personalize it to Ace specifically. It's pretty simple, but it does the job in conveying the idea. Personally, the worst part of doing this drawing was his stupid hair. All the geometric shapes are really hard to replicate without looking absolutely crazy. It took me forever to get it that way, that it looks like his hair without making it look like it should be on a math test. I also made sure to sneak in a little heart there because his whole thing is hearts, being the Ace of Hearts. Which, speaking of that, it's weird his name is Ace Trappola, when you got guys in his dorm like Deuce Spade, Trey Clover, Cater Diamond. Hell, even Riddle follows this a little with Riddle Rose Hearts. But Ace stands out significantly with it. I'm not sold on Traitor Ace theory because it doesn't feel right, but there has to be something else going on with him to have the name that means trap or trick. We get probably the least amount of information on him besides Grimm and Crowley, who basically have zero information. Ace also barely mentions anything about his family besides the fact that we know he has a brother and a father, though we have zero clue on Mrs. Trappola, which I know isn't too strange. Many characters in the cast don't have mothers or great relations with their mother, but on top of the fact that we barely know anything about Ace is a little weird in my opinion. I'm hoping when we do get Ace's hometown event, we can learn more about him than the small amount that we already do. Hell, even Silver has more information on him than Ace. Most likely, Ace isn't a huge, big part of Twisted Wonderland, lore-wise, but if something big is revealed, I will eat my words. Like every fandom, most people will strip all the nuance and personality to one single trait for a character, and Ace's is that he's stupid and mean and has a crush on the player. Well, sometimes this can be funny, as yes, he is stupid, he's like 16 or 17, but when that's literally the only trait people focus on, it can be frustrating. While on the other hand, they baby other characters that do either worse or the same things as Ace. Ace is more than what the fandom makes him out to be, like every other character in the series, and deserves more. I know nuance is pretty much dead in fandom spaces, but that doesn't mean we can't aim for that. Now, moving on to the outfit choice, I decided on his dorm uniform as it's very recognizable, although not my favorite look of his. I have this sort of love-hate relationship with artistry uniforms, as it's overly complicated in a way that just doesn't work. I understand it's Alice in Wonderland, but do we have to have the stupid yellow striped sash that's only on the Queen of Hearts? They're the soldiers. They shouldn't have that. Methinks not. There will probably be a redesign video for Twisted Wonderland uniforms, but for now I will suck it up and finish this drawing. If I were to say the best part of the drawing, it would have to be the eyes and the coloring, I just had a pretty great time doing these. It's relaxing and soothing on my part, most definitely my comfort zone. The highlights were also pretty fun, especially to do the tart, which I don't usually draw food, which I probably should if I want to make a comic. But here is Ace Trappola in all of his letter A glory. 1 down, 24 left to go. In the end, I'm quite happy with the end product. It worked very well together. I'm glad in the end Ace's hair didn't look weirdly. At least I hope it's not. There are a couple places I would like to tweak on the drawing, but if I did, I would never be done with it. Thank you so much for watching all the way through, but if you just skip the whole video to get to the end product, I see you. Anyways, if you liked the video, please like, comment below what you think about Ace Trappola. I want to know you guys' opinions on him. And please subscribe for more videos like this so I can continue this series. We gotta get to Z, guys. I can't wait to show you the next character in the series. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!